This is like something you've never read before. There's lots of saint books. When this one came out, when we published this one, I kind of looked at it and said, ooh, this a little skinny book on Therese, and I said, what can they possibly find to say that hasn't been said? This is really difficult, okay? It's one of the hardest questions because, as you can see, there is lots of saint books. And how do I pick my favorite saint book? It's nearly impossible. Okay, so let me put some of these down because it's way too much. And I'll start with the first saint book that I ever read. Actually, the first saint book I read is no longer available. It was called The Scarlet Lily, and it was the life of Mary Magdalene, which was a little sappy, but it really did the trick for me. I was only like 12 or 13, and I fell in love with saints after that. Because I read that book, I went in search of saint books, but since I was a little Protestant girl, I had no idea what I was doing. I went to the public library, and Christina and I looked up whatever had ST in front of it, which was limited to Saint Joan of Arc, you know, some of the obvious saints, Saint Francis of Assisi, but we were really hard-pressed to find other saint stories, and we really researched all over. And that's eventually how we found the Daughters of St. Paul, who specialize in this line. But anyhow, one book that we did find in the public library was the Song of Bernadette. We had no idea what the song was about, who Bernadette was, anything. So, Christine read it first, and she gave it to me to read. She held this book so precious that it was wrapped in baggies. You know, I couldn't bend it. I couldn't, you know, it had to be come back intact to her. So she really treasured that book. I found a book called The Penitent, which was the life of Saint Maria Goretti, and that was by Pietro di Donato. Another one you'll have to get on Amazon.com or go looking in used bookstores. But after we finished these books, we sat down and we said, we have finished all the good books in the world. There is nothing left because we exhausted what was in the public library. Then we found the Daughters of St. Paul, and we realized there was a whole world of saints and saint books. So this was the first one, made me fall in love with the saints and investigate who are these people, where are they from. This was a girl that was the same age as I was when I was reading the story in Saint Maria Goretti. So we made the connection between the books we were reading about the saints and where they actually came from when we saw stained glass windows in Sacred Heart Church across the street. Yet these people belong to this church, and that's what made us investigate more into the Catholic faith, and the rest is history, so to speak. Anyhow, other books on the saints besides this one, and I love this one. This one is 1895. It's a reprint, but it's a classic. It's well worth reading. But I have another book on Saint Bernadette, which is my new favorite, and it's by a very well-known Mariologist, Renee Laurentin, and it makes her very human, very real, very appealing, somebody that you would probably have liked to have known. And it's full of photographs. It's full of pictures and photographs that I don't know where they got them from, but you rarely see photographs of Bernadette. This one is just chock full of them. So for people who are familiar with Bernadette's story, this is not like a duplication. This is like something you've never read before. It has a lot of her own dialogue in it. It's not a novelized format. It's actual, but it's so engaging. It's really worth reading. Then, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted because there's no way I can really tell you all about the saint books that are available. You'll just have to call us. There's one for people that are starting off with saints, or if you know young people that aren't introduced to the saints yet and you would like to get them interested. This is called Saints, A Year in Faith and Art. And actually what I think it is, it's like a holy card for every day of the year. It's every single page has a picture of a saint. I would get it just for the artwork. It's fabulous, but it has a short biography of each of the saints along with the picture. So I think it's a wonderful introduction, short, concise, to the point, but it'll get their interest, it'll pique their interest. Then if you have young people who are more readers, there's a really nice book called 57 Stories of Saints that has been around years. But again, a book like that is what you call classic. It never goes out of style or out of season. It's been updated with you know, some recent saints. It's so well written. It's they could almost be, I don't know, short stories about the saints, radio talks, lots of dialogue. It's great for kids that are doing reports at school, or you just, again, you want to get them interested in the saints. Like 4 or 5 pages each story, and it starts chronologically with St. Peter and the Blessed Mother, goes all the way through up to the 20th century. So this is a great little book too. $16.95, makes a beautiful Christmas gift, confirmation gift, first communion. I mean, just to get the kids interested. Then we have a whole series called Encounter the Saints. There's about 22 in the series, and this one is one of our more recent ones. Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati. If anybody has not heard about him, let me introduce you to a wonderful person. He's actually, we have one for grown-ups too, with pictures. I read his story a few years ago, and as soon as I finished reading the book, I took his picture and put it with my family photos. I said, this guy, if I could pick a relative, I'd love it to be him. He's really, again, somebody that you would have loved to have known, and he was called the man of the Beatitudes. He exemplified, you know, what it means to live like a Christian, a very Christ-like life. And but he was only about 24, I think, when he died, and full of life, and I don't know. He's also like the patron saint, so to speak, of youth, of people in college. I don't know, if you don't know him, please introduce yourselves to Pier Giorgio. And there's also, like I said, a whole series of saints for children that are, you can read it in a couple sittings. It's not too intimidating. They can use it for reports too. It's called Encounter the Saints. All right, two more, and then I'll let you go, okay? Because I don't want to, you know, exhaust all of them. We'll be back again another time. There's another best friend that I've had for a long time is St. Therese. And I've read almost every book there is about her, and that's saying quite a bit. There's libraries written on Therese. And when this one came out, when we published this one, I kind of looked at it and said, ooh, this a little skinny book on Therese. And I said, what can they possibly find to say that hasn't been said? You know, that she's so popular, and everybody has tried their hand at writing something about her. So I read it nonetheless. I sat down in chapel and I said, okay, well, let's see what it's about. And afterwards I said, now I remember why I liked her so much. You know, everything that I liked about her is in this book. It's called Holy Daring, and that kind of says it all. It's a small little book. If you know people that love Therese, this is something you can give to them. Even though they have a library full of books, trust me, they don't have this one. This one is, it's a new take on it. But again, just why is she so special? Why? Because this is what she exemplifies. You know, that attitude of holy daring before God, which is something that all of us can learn from. One last one. And this is a series that when I was explaining to Strand, there's so many books to pick from. But if I had my choice, and there was 2 books about a saint, and one was dry history and one was a novel. Sorry, this is true confessions. I would probably pick the novel because I want to be engaged. I want to be drawn into the story. And there's one author. His name is Louis de Wohl, who has been around for years. And these are reprints, but really excellent books. He writes the life of the saint. It's a historical novel, so it's based on fact, but it's written in a style that you could sit down and just not put the book down. It's so good. It's so well written. Versus a dry history, I'd take this any day. But he has a whole series. He has St. Augustine, St. Benedict, St. Catherine of Siena, St. Francis of Assisi, Thomas Aquinas. There's a series of about maybe 7 or 8. St. Francis Xavier. Set all afire. See, I told you I wasn't going to pull anything else out, but there's all kind. They're wonderful books, and again, people that can't get into the dry history part of it, if you want something that's really, really good, please try at least start people out with this.